Hello, Jeanette, and happy Friday! We made it to the weekend, and today we are doing the Truth No Sugarcoat reading, which we're using our decks that I like to call them the tongue of a viper because they keep nothing. They just say it how it is. And it's also a very inspiring kind of reading because it kind of reminds us of our fierceness, of our power, which I think it's a great reading. Just to be reminded to not keep giving our power away, that we are in charge, right? So let me go ahead and show you the table. So on the table, we have our spirit stick, we have our clear quartz, we have little amulets over here from my grandmother. And we, of course, have that ammonite that is all about your primal energy. And in the corner, we have this guy, which is our smoky quartz. And that is basically for the messages to come as they need, right? So what we're going to do is we are going to zoom you in a little bit. And we're going to go ahead and grab the deck. So today we're focusing on Caribbean decks. They're very kind of curandera and mixture of hoodoo and voodoo. And these are the decks that I love the most when we're working with no sugarcoat. So we're just gonna be open, right? So what I tell people is watch the reading the first time with an open mind, and then the second time you could take notes, you could send me the feedback, you could ask me any questions. Sometimes people make me videos as a feedback, so if you want to do that, some people send me voice messages, some people just send me long emails, some people don't really say much of anything, they just say thank you. So I always respect the person and however they want to let the feedback, but remember that after the reading, you are free to ask me anything. That's when we can really get very personal. Before the reading, you see how I'm not asking you 1,000 questions. I'm not saying, oh, hey, tell me more about you. And that is because I read in an intuitive way. So we kind of just want to let the cards pick up on that energy rather than put expectations into the reading, right? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna lay out our cards. So you can see I've been doing this for over 20 years. I'm not a master shuffler. I can't really shuffle. It's like my thing. I can't. I can't shuffle all that great. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna add a few more cards. And I know this looks like a lot of cards, but we're gonna go one by one, okay? So we are going to go one by one. So now what we're gonna do, I'm gonna fix that camera. I'm gonna zoom you in a little bit more. And we're gonna go ahead and begin. So first we're using the tongue of mother, right? So the first card that we're seeing here is basically the Three of Horns, right? So when we see the Three of Horns or the Three of Staffs, right? It all depends what you want to call it. This is actually ruled by Aries. This would be the element of fire. Okay, so basically what we see here is, this is uplifting good news. So you are going to enter a period where your potential for efficiency and achievement is truly ideal. Right now, what you want to do is keeping your eyes open for a new vocation openings and your eyes open to additional opportunities, right? So there's going to be prices that this new doors bring. It will just come with the totality with time. So right now it's a time to be patient. You should be patient and stick around for the long stretch. Right now it's almost like you're in the search. You are in this transition and you're searching for what is best for you. What you want to avoid here is the bigger picture, right? So basically, and this is avoiding putting expectations on how we want things to happen and trying to trust the universe and let the universe work in your favor without putting expectations. A lot of times, we may work with the craft, we may work with intent, and then the universe gives it to us, but it's completely different. And we're like, oh my gosh, that's not what I asked for, right? But take a look at your next one. Your next one is the Two of Cups. So we're ruled by water here, right? So the main aspect of this card is a partnership. So what kind is less clear is you are standing at the past, present, or future aspect of a groundbreaking one. So this relationship will include total trust and deserving admiration. Obviously, it might be an especially passionate relationship. However, it could simply be a profound and withstanding companionship. So when we see this, it's being aware with the people that you have a connection, right? Being aware of codependency from those people. What this means is that you have this very big healer aura, right? And with this healer aura, people are attracted to it, right? So you'll notice how a lot of times strangers come up to you, they tell you their life story and you're listening to them, but you're also wondering, why is this person saying so much to me? I don't even know them, right? And what we see here is your energy. When we see here the 9 of Swords mixed with this, so this is emotion and this is energy and this is thought, right? So what we're seeing here is somebody with the ability of clairsentience. So what this means is that you not only have abilities as an empath where you soak up energy and you get exhausted from people, but you can also read their energy, right? Meaning that if you have friends and they're like, you gotta meet this person, they're amazing, you're gonna love them. And we're like, well, I love my friends, so I'm gonna trust them. I'm gonna meet this person, I'm gonna love them. But then that person shows up, right? And then you find yourself crossing your arms like completely just uncomfortable, right? And that is because you could read their energy. You know that this person may be acting to be something that they're not. But a lot of times you tend to feel like you're being judgmental. So you will give them a chance and later on you're like, oh, I wish I should have trusted my intuition. You're actually very intuitive. And there's this healer aura about you, which means following the next card is that you tend to put other people first, right? Because you really like to help people. It makes you feel good. But what happens here is that you leave yourself for the back burner. And a lot of times you will find yourself exhausted, moody, with not too much patience, and you're getting the sleep that you need, and you may be eating right, but this has nothing to do with physical. This is all of the energy that you're soaking up. Now, you're very good, like I said, at reading people. You know exactly the kind of person, and this goes beyond people, this goes into places, this goes into an email, for example, into a text message. You know, even if it's the shortest text message, you know if there's attitude behind there. So you may be looking at a friend and saying, look at this message, and your friend may be just saying, oh, it's just a message. That is actually a psychic ability. I don't like to use the word psychic, but clairsentience is under the psychic folder as clear sensing. So it's definitely a great time for you to trust yourself. When we see the 10 of Pentacles, we do see a lot of abundance coming your way. The Knight of Staffs is you're ready for that change. We see abundance, we see prosperity, we see a change coming, and you're ready for this. So it's almost like you're approaching a crossroads in life. You're ready for this change, right? And what we see here is making sure that when the fear shows up, anytime that we're doing this change, fear will show up. Don't let that fear stop you. But the thing about here is not using that, oh my gosh, I call it a very toxic mentality, you know, the fearless. We gotta be fearless. We can't fear. That's just toxic. And I feel like being fearless is part of our youth. So I haven't been fearless in 20 years, 25 years. But the thing about this is you're ready, but be very picky. Not every opportunity that's going to show up for you, it's going to be for you. Not every person that needs your energy, you need to give them your energy. It's very important with the Knight of Staffs, you know, that you set boundaries. Boundaries are extremely important. You are a lot of people's rocks. A lot of people depend on you. But the thing is that you also need to put yourself first. This sometimes makes you feel like you're being selfish. But if you notice your energy, whenever you are around people, whether you love them, whether they're good people or not, you always find yourself exhausted. And that is a sign of a clairsentience. So what we're going to do now, we're going to move to the Esotele deck. And what we see here is Abiife, which kind of means a love is born. So this is a time of possibility, which goes with that 3 of Staffs up there, right? So surprises that are coming, but also creative opportunities. What you want to avoid right now is people that are emotionally immature, people that are kind of putting their insecurities on you, and this may cause you creative blocks. Now, because your energy is different, and this is a gift that you were actually born with, throughout your life, you've dealt with gossip, you've dealt with people that don't like you, and you don't even know why they don't like you. And then these people don't deserve your attention. What's happening here is that your energy is different. So we have those people that are attracted to that, and they want to see you grow, and they're like, girl, go get it. Yes, and that's how usually I am, right? But then you have these people that feel, oh, what is that word? They don't feel comfortable. They feel intimidated. So what do they have? Instead of learning from you or wanting to be part of your journey, they start gossiping, right? Because it's very shallow. And a lot of times they will start putting their insecurities upon you. And you know, as tough as we are, sometimes it gets on our nerves. Sometimes we're like, oh my gosh, but I haven't done anything to you. What's your deal? Right? So be very careful who gets your energy and who doesn't. Not everybody that encounters and comes your way deserves your energy. Your energy is actually very sacred, okay? So not everybody is gonna blend with that, and that's perfectly okay. Here we have Oyaba Aye, and this is your home, this is your hearth, this is your mother archetype, this is your high priestess, your empress, right? You bring comfort to many people. You want to be careful with people that are smothering, people that are wasteful, people that maybe even become obsessive, or anytime that you find yourself trying to explain yourself to someone who's very close-minded or someone who's constantly judging you or putting too many expectations on you, you need boundaries with those people, because right now you're at a crossroads. The last thing you want to do is bring in self-doubt that's not even yours. It's coming from someone else, right? So this kind of card represents someone who is full as it pertains to spiritual fulfillment, right? This is all about trusting yourself and trusting in the direction that the universe is guiding you. This could also represent someone who is raising a child. Maybe you have a child and you're using a more holistic or natural approach to parenthood. You know, now this is someone, you have this ability to also work with herbs. So if you work with herbs, it is part of your path. If you've ever kind of wondered about it, like, hey, I think I'm interested, it is a part of your path, because we do also see a past lifetime where you were considered to be a very holistic herbalist, right? Now, what we see here is be very careful with people that are misusing their power with you. People that are constantly negative, you know, people that really bring you down, what we call the energy vampires. You want to also make sure that you yourself, that you are not ignoring your spiritual gifts, okay? Because when we do that, we go against the ebb and flow, and then we create all of this chaos around us. Now, the next one is Abiaye, right? This is your motivation. This is your desire. This is taking action. What you want to be careful is settling. You don't want to settle anymore, okay? You don't want to deal with people that are closed off, or that they're acting too impossible, like I'm too important and you can't reach me. No more of that. You don't want to settle. Okay, so what we're seeing here is it kind of represents your esoteric energy, how you're very committed in growing that, you know, or furthering your knowledge on your practice or even your tradition, right? So what we see here is basically just avoid any gatekeepers, first of all, when it comes to your energy and the craft. Anybody that says, you can't be doing that, you want to avoid that. Second of all, like I said, you want to avoid completely settling for anything. If it doesn't feel right for you, if you know that this is not for you and you just feel bad and you don't want to tell the person no because you feel bad, girl, no, just say no. You know, sometimes we get anxious when we say no, sometimes we shake, sometimes we're, you know, a mess. But the thing is that you need to stop settling. You are worth so much more. You have done so much for other people. It's really time for you to be there for yourself. What we see with the next one is Open. It says if you damage the character of another, you damage your own. So what we see here is, you know, looking for the truth in ourselves. This is a fire card. This is a being like justice in tarot, being fair to yourself, right? So here we see your wisdom and we see your growth. It doesn't come from books. It doesn't come from workshops. It doesn't come from the internet. Yours comes from your wisdom. This is something you were born with, right? So in spirituality, you may have gone through the brunt of dark nights, but you are walking through to the other side of a spiritual transformation, and you're standing at the edge of the cliff with your inner voice asking you to fly, right? So are you going to follow your true calling? You can't stand at the precipice forever, right? So what we see here is, do not avoid the inevitable end of a journey. Allow your lessons to manifest into ascension. This is the true energy of a crone. Now, when we hear the word crone, you know, I remember my grandmother talking about it. when she used to be with us, and she would always mention crone, and I would be like, girl, I was, at that time I was in my 30s, and she would always say, and she said something that stuck to me. She would always say, crone is not about how old you are. Crone is not about gray hair. Crone is not the artwork that we see. She said, you could be 85 years old and not be a crone because you lived a very comfortable life. You didn't take risk, right? You could be a crone at your 30s, at your 40s, because life knocked you down and you still got back up. What we see with you is that wisdom of a crone. This is why you're wiser than your years. And this actually comes from previous past lives. I don't know about you, but I'm getting the chills. Now take a look at Damu. Right, so Damu, as part of being gifted, you go through periods of depressions, right, of sleepless nights, of anxiety, of hopelessness, that this may be caused by some trauma before. So we see that mental exhaustion, right, but we also see the end of despair, right? We also see you reaching out from the darkness. So in the intense emotions that accompany this card, right, this is almost like when you're in that place, you struggle to connect with spirit because of your focus is on your emotional turmoil, right? So what we see here is conquering the darkness, which is something that you've done, and using the darkness as a phoenix rising rather than a thing to turn you into a victim. One thing that you've never done in your life is turn yourself into a victim, and that is part of that inner crone. So when it comes to that, we see this knowledge with you, and Ophin and Damu together, we see the energy of a claircognizant. Now, claircognizant, once again, you hear the word clear, it falls into the psychic folder. It means clear knowledge. A lot of the things that you just happen to know. You don't know why you know them. You just know them. And a lot of times you will doubt that. But this is actually the ability of knowing things without knowing why you know them. You just do. So definitely a time to trust your intuition. Don't ask questions. Just go with the flow. What we see with the next one is Aseo. The one-eyed man does not thank God until he sees the blind man. So what we see with this is do not try to stuff yourself in a box. Follow your intuition and follow the path, right, with respect to known traditions that resonates with you. Spiritual evolution requires your trust that the universe has your back and things will unfold just as they need to, right? So what we see with this is your free spirit drive, You're out there for the good of everyone, but at the same time, do not try to fit in. Do not try to put yourself in this box because you're different. You're not meant to be quiet. You're not meant to be in a box. Okay, now here what we see is the healing earth, right? Which is very, very strong to me. It reminds me of the energy of Yemaya. I don't know why she reminds me of her, but what we see here is the power to give and receive healing. So as a healer, we tend to send energy to other people. But then we forget that the same power that we have to help other people, we have for ourselves. This is part of your life path. So as you see, we see a lot of psychic ability here. We see a person who's very in tune with spirit, and we see the energy of the healer, right? When we see tenderness is really bringing into your life more love, more true love, more compassion. You are a beautiful person who gives everybody the compassion, the patience, the love. You build people up. You're like, you like to build people up. But when it comes to yourself, you're very short in patience. You need to treat yourself how you treat other people. You deserve it the most. So stop thinking about all the things that you lack and just remind yourself, I have this shit, okay? You are a beautiful person. Like, I feel like we're friends. Like I know you, right? So now look at the last one. We have sacred action, decisive focus. So this is all about working with that third eye, with that crown, and also with that heart center. Anytime that you find yourself in doubt, go within yourself. Instead of listening to everybody else and there are millions of opinions, you want to go within yourself and listen to the guidance that's coming from within. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna add 2 more cards. And these are gonna be our last cards of the reading. And let's see the guidance that we have. Respect your boundaries, yes, and trust in magic. See, do you see why I shuffle on camera? We gotta make sure that we see these cards kind of coming through and not like we're just choosing them. So what we see here is respecting your boundaries. Remember how this reading was talking a lot about setting boundaries. Another part of boundaries that's really hard for us is after we set them, we may feel bad and we break them. So others will not respect the emotional boundaries that you set within your relationships if you don't respect them yourself. So know yourself, love yourself. If you do not accord yourself to the same care you desire from others, then you will not be shown care. If you do not honor your own truth and dreams, then nobody else will. Honor yourself by treating yourself with the same care and in the same manner that you wish others to treat you. As we saw, you are a builder. You build people up. You have people's back. When it comes to friendship, you are as loyal as they come. But when it comes to yourself, you got to give yourself the same energy. When we see trust in magic, we know that magic is the mysterious and coincidental. So it is at the heart of those moments of synchronicity and knowing. It is woven into the awareness that there is more to life than what you can see. So it is born of that moment when you step without fear and with loving heart into the void, voice your desire, and have great spirit send this messengers to show you the way. Trust in your magic. It is real and it surrounds you. I really like that card, and I wonder, now we're going to talk a little bit. I wonder if you've always sensed that you're different. You've always sensed that maybe you don't belong with, like you try to belong with people, but you always feel like the outcast ever since you were a child, because your gifts come from childhood, which means they come from probably your bloodline, but it was probably kept very secret. And I wonder if sometimes you were doubting yourself, if you're like, is this my intuition? Is this my overthinking, right? So this is a time for a glow up. It's what my children call it, the glow up, okay? So we're going to be like young, the glow up, which is what we call the empowerment, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait for your feedback. Take your time. I'm not in a hurry. Okay, I'm always doing 1,000 things or nothing at all, one or the other. And I cannot wait to hear back from you. You have a beautiful energy. It feels very familiar, like we're friends, like now we're friends, okay? So I love you. I cannot wait to hear back from you. Lots of love and light to you, and blessed be. Bye-bye.